Hello there, and welcome to Just Pauses. Today, for a change, I bring an assorted platter of people for you. In the past couple of months, I bumped into a nice mixed set of people, and their stories left me amused. No connections between them, except one that they all have left me with the same emotion of wonder. You can sit back, put your feet up, and close your eyes as you listen to three very true, very short stories. You do not even have to connect any dots, just plain and simple storytelling. Story 1. Walking past the tables in the breakfast arena of the Cleopatra Hotel in Cairo, Rahul noticed an Indian looking couple seated at one of the tables. The lady had a bindi on her forehead. Rahul went towards their table to exchange pleasantries. After the highs and the hellos, the inevitable question popped up from Rahul's end. From where are you in India? The gentleman coughed a little and cleared his throat and said, "It is actually a little complicated. How to put it? We are South Africans who reside in Australia now. We look Indians, but we do not belong to India. We have visited India only twice as tourists." Rahul kept the cup of tea he was holding down on the table and wondered. Noticing the quizzical look on Rahul's face, the gentleman put his knife and fork down on the plate, even as his wife looked amused and ready for what must have been an often repeated story. "Well, it is like this. I am Shankar Narayanan and she is Patty, my wife. About 300 years ago, our great great grandfathers from Tamil Nadu were brought to South Africa to work in plantations. Nobody went back to India in the past 3 centuries. We too were born there and raised there. As you would know, the times of apartheid were not that good. We were not allowed even higher education. However, somehow my father got me educated, and I was one of the first few persons of brown skin to become an engineer there. Later on, we moved to Australia." Rahul was listening wide eyed, while Patty kept smiling. "So, you see, our names are Indians, but we do not speak any Indian language, and nor are we connected with India. We are not aware of the customs or religions or the history or geography of India. But yes, we look Indians, that's it." Rahul was surprised and curious, both. "Do you not celebrate Indian festivals? Whom do you pray to? Do you know of the Mahabharata or the Gita? And what about Indian food?" The gentleman replied, "No, we have not heard of. What did you say, Gita?" "No, as I said, we know about India as much as a casual tourist knows. Just heard of a couple of cities, and we know a little about the Indian food, though we don't cook the same stuff. India to us is as, for example, Egypt is, where we shall halt and look around for 4 5 days, and that's it." Rahul kept looking intriguingly at the bindi on Patty's forehead. "Well, there is a little connection still," he wanted to say, but he just smiled and took a sip from his cup of tea. Story number 2. Stephen was howling, breaking down into hysterical sobs over the phone. Martha was taken aback. Her 16-year-old grandson was babbling something incomprehensible in between the loud crying. Martha's anxiety was increasing. "Are you hurt, Stephen? Is somebody sick at home? Where are your mom and dad? Shh, please calm down, stop crying. I can't understand a word. Go to the kitchen and take a sip of water. Come on, good boy, go." Martha tried to not sound too anxious herself. "Gran, please come down soon. Please, Gran, you and Grandpa both come down here immediately. Mom is hurt, very badly hurt, and Stuart is with me. He's shaking, he's scared. We don't know what to do, Gran. The neighbors have taken Mom to a hospital." "Why? Tell me, Stephen, what happened? How did Mom get hurt?" Martha's heart was galloping. She sat down on the kitchen stool. "Grandmom started bleeding when Dad hit her again today. He has been hitting her all these years. I've been seeing them fight and then mom getting hurt. I've seen her bruises since when I was a kid, Gran. Stephen was trembling and sobbing inconsolably. Martha was numb with shock. Their darling daughter, their Jenny, she was being abused, beaten, but Sam was so kind and soft spoken. How could he have ever raised his hand? And he was madly in love with Jenny all these years. Stephen was out of breath, gasping for air. His voice was shaking hard. Gran, all these years Stuart and I have been so helpless. Mom had told us strictly to not tell this to anyone, even to you guys. Dad is merciless, Gran. Please save our mom. Martha was feeling dizzy. She could not believe a word of what Stephen was blurting. Was their darling Jenny living in this hell for 2 decades? Why? Why did she hide from us? How could I never see the bruises? Why did she take it all? We are educated. She has a career. We have been such liberal parents. We have always encouraged them to speak up. We are not poor. We are not uneducated. Why then? Stephen was angry, was saying something about getting back at his father. Martha was listening, asking questions to herself, cold and numb. Story number 3. One day, while sipping coffee, seated at a roadside eatery over a hilltop, one of the tourists from India asked their guide, Mr. Tung, if he was a Buddhist. I do not practice any religion. Mr. Tung had shaken his head and replied matter-of-factly. Mr. Tung was a tour guide by passion and a chemical engineer by education. Short, bespectacled and a little stout, 40-year-old Mr. Tung had 2-3 alternate permanent expressions on his face. Either he looked flustered all the time, or amused, or just innocent and confused. When he blurted out that he was an atheist, the tour member was curious. To whom do you pray then? I have never prayed to anyone for anything, Mr. Tung promptly declared. In what do you believe then? Another tourist asked him. Well, I believe in 3 principles and I live by them. A couple of tour group members who had overheard the conversation joined the huddle. They were interested. Mr. Tung was not conscious about who and how many were listening. He had that solemn look on his face when he elaborated. 1. Treat everyone with respect. 2nd, be aware that your ancestors are watching you and do not forget them. And 3rd, never forget your teachers and what they taught you. Those listening to him were silently staring at Mr. Tung wide-eyed. A moment later, Mr. Tung got up. He was ready to guide them further on. The end. Thank you for listening to the stories. Every moment, millions of stories are born on this planet, as many as the different types of people, isn't it? And their different thoughts, unique ways, their peculiar choices, beliefs, not only create magic, but also a beautiful mosaic. Take a pause. Thank you.